following is a special presentation of HBO Sports.
From the beginning, boxing has been a sport of power, strength, strategy, and heart. But perhaps the most effective component of all is speed.
Wow.
Tonight, live from Las Vegas, we present two of the fastest fighters in the sport today. First, Hector Camacho. Fast and flashy. Quick and dazzling. Over the last 10 years, Hector Camacho has shaded all opponents with his blazing hand speed, rapid-fire combinations, and piston jab. Tonight, he puts his perfect record on the line against former lightweight champion Greg Haugen in a bout scheduled for 12 rounds. And then... Whitaker. Slick and accurate. Swift and tactical. Averaging 80 punches per round, Pernell Whitaker is boxing's busiest and most successful ring technician. Tonight, the undisputed lightweight champion of the world makes the first defense of his unified crown against highly ranked contender Anthony Jones. So join us for a fast and furious evening as we present four of the speediest hands in boxing today: Pernell Whitaker and Hector Camacho. Tonight, World Championship Boxing comes to you live from Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada. As HBO Sports presents a boxing doubleheader. First, a junior welterweight matchup pitting the undefeated and ever colorful Hector Macho Camacho against the resilient and game Greg Haugen. And then in our main event, the undisputed lightweight champion of the world, Pernell Whitaker, defends his WBA, WBC, and IBF titles against Anthony Jones of Detroit. A knowledgeable crowd of boxing aficionados in the small arena in Caesars Palace, which has been the scene of some Pernell Whitaker success in the past. They get ready to watch two of the great technicians in the sport of boxing trying to move one step forward apiece in their so far illustrious and successful careers. And hello again, I'm Jim Lampley. We welcome you to a night of boxing that we're really excited about here on HBO. But because we are coming to you on the evening on which a ground war has apparently begun in the Persian Gulf, we will once again be monitoring CNN. And if something develops in the Gulf, which we think might be a compelling reason for you to switch to a news channel, we'll pass that information along. Meanwhile, we get ready first to watch the artistry of Hector Macho Camacho as he fights Greg Haugen, who lives here in Las Vegas, should have the crowd on his side, and could conceivably be a tough opponent for the Macho Man. I turn now, as always, to our HBO boxing analyst, Larry Merchant. Larry, Hector Macho Camacho, despite all the vagaries of his career, remains an undefeated fighter, looking for big things down the road. What's at stake for him tonight?
Well, every fight is crucial for him at this stage of his career, the short answer, precisely because going on 29 years of age, he has to be in position for the big money fights that are looming ahead of him, against Chavez, against Taylor, against Whitaker. The longer answer is this appears to be yet the conclusion of another stage in his curious, even bizarre up and down career. And it's curious and bizarre because he is, after all, undefeated in this, his 12th year as a professional, and that's a very rare occurrence in boxing. When he was up, it appeared he was on the verge of greatness. When he was down, it appeared that he was sending himself into oblivion. Who knows what he's on the verge of now? What he may be on the verge of, however, because he is looking so far beyond Haugen, is a tougher fight than this should be.
Indeed, although a few months ago when we saw him in Lake Tahoe against Tony Baltazar, he fought the best fight he had fought in the past 5 years. But Hector Camacho has always been the object of some scorn and ridicule. And like most public figures in that position, he says he's been misunderstood. The road a fighter travels is paved with both success and hardship. Hector Camacho knows. While his career has in recent months been rejuvenated, his popularity appears to be plummeting.
Hector's a mixed bag. There are times when he can be a very amusing guy, and there are times when he doesn't realize he should avoid center stage, and it's not his moment.
Away from boxing, a frenetic lifestyle has been Camacho's worst enemy. He's a flamboyant character who thrives on attention. It's the way he goes about getting attention that rubs people the wrong way.
I'm out to have a little fun with everybody. And when people understand that one day back home, the selfish people, the arrogant people understand that, they're gonna grow to love me too.
But it's difficult to take at face value someone who is constantly mired in controversy. With Camacho, controversy often grows into real trouble.
There's a lot of little boy, a lot of mischievousness inside of him that's still there. And part of that's real charming, but when it gets out of control, as it has on occasion, it hurts people.
That was the case December 14 at the Fighter of the Decade Awards dinner honoring the late Mark Ettis in Atlantic City. Hector wasn't to be honored, but he still took center stage.
Oh, you don't give me my stage? I take it. That's what made me the Macho Man. And if they want to take that and turn it around and say, well, I was being disrespected to Mark Ellis, well, hey, that's their point of view. As far as my point of view, it's my way of saying I'm going home.
You know, they always said let Nixon be Nixon. You have to let Camacho be Camacho.
Once considered one of the best of all fighters, this former super featherweight and lightweight champion devastated opponents with lightning hand speed and movement. But personal and professional problems reduced Camacho to a jab and grab fighter who rarely fought and lacked motivation when he did.
Goes down! I lost a lot of interest in boxing. Being there when Mancini got beat, Rosario got beat by Chavez, Bramble got beat by Rosario, you know. It seemed like all the money fights went down the drain. So it was really nothing out there exciting me.
Until Julio Cesar Chavez, Meldrick Taylor, and Pernell Whitaker rose to prominence. They are the three reasons for the resurgence we've witnessed in Camacho's recent fights.
He was burned out as a lightweight, and I think moving up has been beneficial physically and mentally for Hector.
I got happy people around me. I'm watching my diet better. I'm training better. I'm coming in my fight stronger.
He could conclude this one.
I'm able to just, you know, be more flat-footed when I want to be. I'm able to punch off my movement. All that improves so much that it's improving my performance.
As Hector's career sways from side to side, so does public opinion. With big money bouts now looming on the horizon, the rise or fall of Hector Camacho will eventually be determined by the same mercurial personality that has defined his entire career. And we bring you back live to ringside, where we are just minutes away from our presentation of Hector Macho Camacho against Greg Haugen, a junior welterweight bout in Las Vegas and scheduled for 12 rounds. If you follow boxing, you may remember Greg Haugen from recent years as the two-time IBF World Lightweight Champion. Originally out of the state of Washington, later he lived in Alaska, where he gained a reputation entering tough man contests in bars. And he moved to Las Vegas about 7 or 8 years ago, so this crowd should be on his side. That's one thing that plays in his favor, Larry. Another may be his particularly aggressive style.
And his conditioning. Let's take a look at some of the best of Haugen. Here you see him as a counterpuncher. He is a rough character. In the Old West, I think he would have been working in some silver mine or punching cattle. But he has taken to prize fighting and has had a reasonably nice career. Made some money for himself. He's going to get about $150,000 tonight. He can jab, as you'll see in a moment. And he's going to try to pressure Camacho to take advantage of what he feels is Camacho's lack of physical preparation.
That video that you saw from one of his 3 fights against Vinny Pazienza. Pazienza was a recent Camacho victim. Greg Haugen says he had hundreds of amateur fights, dozens of fights as a tough man in the bars of Alaska, and as a professional, 31 appearances, 27 wins, 2 losses to Pazienza, a loss to Pernell Whitaker, and 1 draw. Hector Macho Camacho introduces another new outfit to the sport of boxing. As you can see, it is a send-up of an Operation Desert Storm military uniform, and this is Hector's own way, he says, of saluting the troops in the Middle East.
And like Hector himself, is filled with paradox. If anybody is a guy who doesn't particularly like a ground war, it is Hector Camacho. He's more of an air war guy.
Or perhaps even amphibious. But this new outfit will be a one-time only if it is in keeping with the Camacho tradition. And we take a look back at some of the fashion highlights of his career. Of course,
I thought if there was ever a Boxing Hall of Fame that there ought to be a wardrobe wing for Camacho's costumes, some of which are pretty inventive and crazy, just as there are wardrobe wings in some great museums I've been into in Europe, the Prince Albert in London, the Pompidou in Paris. Just look at them. Irrepressible.
And no doubt some of the booing that comes from the crowd is from the hearts and minds of those who believe that Hector has in fact insulted our troops who are fighting a ground war in the Middle East tonight, rather than saluted them. But he has always been different, and as he says, this is just my way.
There has always been a love-hate relationship with Camacho because of these kinds of antics, but there it is. The record speaks for itself. Undefeated in nearly 12 years as a professional.
Only 16 knockouts, though, and none of them of recent vintage.
In his last 9 fights in the last 5 years, he has had 1 stoppage.
So Hector does not bring the kind of punching power into the ring that causes you to look for an explosive ending. Tail of the tape between Camacho and Haugen, not much difference between the two, although Hector struggled a bit to make weight for this fight. And Larry, take us back to the weigh-in yesterday afternoon.
Right, he had to take off 3 or 4 pounds yesterday. He was fortunate that the weigh-in was yesterday instead of this morning. Had to strip down to nothing, weighed 140, and you can see him looking at the scale as though he's looking at Chavez. He thinks this has been his main fight for this fight, and sometimes that means you're overlooking the real fight, the opponent. And here are your punch stats. Haugen surprisingly throws more punches, but Camacho is much more quick-handed. And here you see the jabs. They throw roughly the same amount of jabs.
And the rules for the fight are those of an organization called the World Boxing Organization, for which Camacho is the titleist. That's why this fight is scheduled for 12 rounds. We at HBO don't recognize the WBO as a legitimate world sanctioning body, so we don't call him a world titleist. 3 judges will score the fight on a 10-point must, no standing 8 count. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. You can be saved by the bell in the last round only. And we go up to ring announcer Michael Buffer for pre-fight introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Caesar's Palace here in Las Vegas, Nevada, where tonight, main events and the undisputed, undefeated king of beer, Budweiser, presents a double dose of World Championship Boxing. This first bout is sanctioned by the World Boxing Organization, President Dr. Ramon Acevedo, Supervisor Alberto Aleman, and the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Chairman Dr. James Nave, Commissioners Luther Mack, Dr. Elias Ghanem, Bruce Lane, and Nat Carasali. The Executive Director is Chuck Minker. The scoring will be done by 3 judges at ringside on a 10-point must system, and they are William McConkey, Dalby Shirley, and Art Laurie. Physicians at ringside, Dr. Flip Omansky, Dr. James Wishgame, and Dr. Al Capana. The timekeepers, Al Bisick and Jane Broadfoot. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada, the moment you've all been waiting for, so let's get ready to rumble! 12 rounds for the WBO Junior Welterweight Championship of the World. The referee for this first title bout is Carlos Padilla. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, he's wearing the USA colors of red, white, and blue. He weighed in at 139 pounds. His professional record, 27-3-1, 13 KOs. He's fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, a two-time world champion. Tonight, the challenger, ladies and gentlemen, Greg Haugen. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing the combat camouflage trunks and weighing an even 140 pounds, originally from Spanish Harlem, now living and fighting on the Osage Indian Reservation in Florida. He's a three-time world champion, undefeated with a record of 38-0, 16 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, it's macho time. He's the WBO Junior Welterweight Champion of the World, Hector Macho Camacho.
In the respective dressing room. Any questions?
No.
Okay, seconds come out fighting.
Okay, good luck. Good luck.
A considerably more subdued Hector Camacho in three-fight ceremonies than was the case in Lake Tahoe last August when he got ready to beat Tony Balthazar.
Well, he's been subdued for days, which is unlike him, and again signals the fact that he's really looking beyond this fight. What Haugen is looking for, Jim, is a long, grueling fight, hoping to take Camacho into deep water with his conditioning at the end of a 12-round fight.
Haugen says that he's more motivated for this fight than he has been for any in 3 years since the second Pazienza bout back in February of 1988. He believes that Camacho's difficulties in making weight create a tremendous opportunity for him to outfight Camacho based on stamina and conditioning, as you said, Larry.
The problem with that theory, Jim, is that Camacho is a type of boxer who will fight a minute and a half of a round if he has to by clutching and moving about. And also, at least in the past, he's had this amazing reservoir of energy.
You saw Greg Haugen bring his right elbow around very close to Camacho's chin. He has a history of cracking opponents with the elbow.
Surprising in this first minute that Haugen has actually beaten Camacho to the punch with his jab.
Absolutely. It is Haugen who's getting off first in these exchanges so far. Camacho short almost all the time with the jab, only twice as he stepped in close enough to exchange. It's probably going to be up to Haugen to crowd Camacho if he wants to step up the tempo of the fight.
Once again, Haugen beats Camacho to the punch. Left to the body by Haugen.
Giving two punches and stepping away from the one in return by Camacho. Another two-punch combination from Haugen. The first one landed to the body, and now he digs Camacho to the ropes. can keep this up, he'll get the crowd into the bout, and they will help to buoy his spirits as he goes along.
A very good round for Haugen, and surprising this early in the fight that he can do what he just did.
Yeah, put some water on this.
Come on, come back with the left hook after that right hand. Now you're doing beautiful. You're watching it. Stay down, crouch a little more. Move the head from side to side, okay? And don't back out with your chin up. Make sure you go back coming up, you know? And you got him inside there. Let him either break you up, you know?
That's the way to go, man.
You're doing fine.
Looking good. And then when you're up there, like you did over that bulldog in the knee, you can't do nothing.
Yeah.
That's good.
You're doing fine.
Do the same.
That's right.
It's your night.
It's your night. It's your night. All right.
Every time you jab to a right hand. Every time you jab to a right hand, good. Come me. They're going very good.
And hook back.
The man who did most of the talking in Haugen's corner is his former amateur coach, Jim Montgomery. Trainer George Chimera stood to the side and didn't have much to say. Good left to the body by Haugen. We're told that Camacho's corner asked their fighter to be economical, throw a lot of feints to conserve energy, don't waste punches. And now Camacho lands twice with the left and backs Haugen up.
Good left hand by Camacho, catching Haugen on the way in.
Haugen has a history of being an open target. Camacho believes he might be able to cut him. Haugen has some history of being cut, but he claimed his skin is tough enough to take anything Camacho throws.
Camacho is trying to make Haugen lead.
Good right hand inside by Camacho. Caught Haugen on the button of the chin. Very good exchange for Camacho. His punch is much more accurate in this round.
This fight, Jim, inevitably is going to be compared to the Whitaker-Haugen fight of 2 years ago. Good counter by Camacho there when Whitaker completely dominated Haugen.
A near shutout. Whitaker won 11 rounds of the 12 on one scorecard.
Now he's getting the range. A very nice counter by Camacho there.
This has been an excellent round for Hector after an indifferent round one. Much more aggressive Camacho in this round than was the case in the first stanza.
And that was Camacho's round.
As we listen to Hector Camacho's corner, translation from former two-time world champion Ruben Castillo.
Throw your left hand straight, just like you're doing it. Don't hurry yourself. Control yourself. You're doing fine.
You have the range now. The range is beautiful.
Muévelo mucho, muévelo mucho.
Move him a lot.
No, moviéndolo es todo. Esto no lo tomes ahora, tíralo.
Right.
Así como lo estás counteando. Como lo estás counteando es perfecto con la izquierda. Y luego...
Let's take a look at Camacho. There you see that quick-handedness. But he doesn't put his whole body into the punch. He doesn't commit himself fully, which is why he is the type of fighter he is, which has certainly been good enough. Camacho did more talking this week about a hoped-for fight with Chavez than he did about Haugen, and he thinks that Haugen is a good primer for Chavez because of his style.
And there is some similarity. Though certainly Haugen has never displayed the precision punching accuracy or the power inside at this weight that Chavez has.
And Chavez is deceptively quick also in the way he pursues a boxer.
Camacho beginning to take complete command of these exchanges near the center of the ring. It's fashionable in the sport to say that Meldrick Taylor has the fastest hands of all the fighters in these middle-range weight classes. But when you look at Camacho at his best, you begin to question that a little.
Except that Camacho rarely throws more than a two-punch combination. And of course, Taylor is constantly moving forward and rarely moving backward the way Taylor, I should say.
You did. And it's a good point. Camacho moves backward a great deal more often than does Meldrick Taylor.
Very rare combination to the body by Camacho, I thought.
Camacho is trading 3 and 4 punches while taking 1 or 2 from Haugen in all of these third-round exchanges. It's been another good round for the Macho Man. And Haugen goes down from a solid right-hand counter.
5, 7, 8. Okay.
Well, just as I was saying, he doesn't get his body into his punches. Haugen walked into a good, stiff, sort of right hook from Camacho.
Only the second time in Greg Haugen's professional career that he's been down. Pernell Whitaker was the other man to knock him down to the canvas. We'll take another look at Hector Camacho putting Greg Haugen on his back for only the second time in his career.
We haven't seen much of Camacho's power. He's not a power puncher, but here you'll see him come up with a right there, and a good right cross. Very good stuff from Camacho. We've talked recently about how Camacho is coming back to his former self as a fighter with the Pazienza fight, starting with the Pazienza fight. And that flurry there is about as good as we've seen him in the last year.
Haugen so intent on trying to stay busy inside and test Camacho that his hands were to his side and he was wide open to take that punch. So now Hector Camacho goes forward with the confidence of having put 2 terrific rounds behind him and having asserted so far control of the fight. Between rounds, Camacho Camacho was told by trainer Rudy Dada in his quarter to keep picking his spots, be economical, not try for the knockout, and conserve his energy.
Which indicates that they're a little bit concerned over the fact that he had to take off 3 or 4 pounds yesterday.
The master plan for Hector Camacho envisions a fight against Julio Cesar Chavez in late May or early June. No such final arrangements have been made yet. But Camacho says he's ready for that.
I heard today, Jim, that it might not happen until the fall because of problems with promoters. But right now, Camacho still has work to do against Haugen. And still must prove, if this fight goes 8, 9 rounds, that he still has that amazing reservoir of energy.
So far, the Haugen strategy is not panning out. It had been his intention to throw upwards of 70 or 80 punches around to try to test Camacho. Instead, it is Camacho who threw 82 punches in round 3, while Haugen threw only 45. Haugen trying to dig to the body. And he gives Camacho another chance to nail him with a right and a left.
And Camacho cleverly set that trap, Jim. He was absolutely setting a trap, and he sprung it. A good left hand.
Haugen holding and hitting and getting away with it for a second, as referee Carlos Padilla seemed momentarily overwhelmed by the action.
For all his ego outside of the ring, Camacho shows very little ego in the ring. He's very calculating. You would have thought, after the way he ended the previous round, that he might have come out to really test Haugen, intimidate him, but no, he just went back to the calculated game plan.
One at a time, one at a time. Talk one at a time. Yeah.
Okay. Like you were doing. Stay inside like that when you got him in against the rope. Make him tie you up. You know, you're scoring big in there. When you pull out, that's when you're going to get hit. And he's looking for you to pull out.
Okay, Harold Letterman, our unofficial official. How have you scored this fight?
Larry, 3 rounds to 1, 39-36 favor Hector Camacho. Remember the 4 points in which we score. Clean punching, it's Camacho. Effective aggressiveness, it's Haugen, but he's not doing nothing. Ring generalship, it's all Camacho. In defense, it's got to be Camacho because Haugen's not scoring.
Punch stat numbers were relatively even in round 4, but still it was Camacho landing far the more effective blows.
Let's keep in mind, this is Haugen's hometown. Camacho doesn't want to get into a close, tough fight.
Keep in mind also that it's a 12-round fight, and that if there is a conditioning problem for Camacho, it's likely to show up in rounds 8 through 12. Haugen brings the crowd alive a little bit with a couple of body blows.
Watch your hands.
Good right hand by Haugen. Camacho looks over at us as if to say, I took it well.
Very rarely have I seen Camacho tagged with a good straight right hand like that right on the chin.
Haugen now beginning to lead with the right more often, trying to come over the top. Gets it in one more time. to the body. Hector Camacho appearing to slow down just a little bit here in round 5. Now he steps forward and threatens Haugen with the left. For the moment. Haugen is finding openings here just as he did in round 1.
Persistence, persistence, persistence.
And Camacho looks a little tired.
He may very well be. He still isn't anxious to trade. He only punches when Haugen isn't punching. And Haugen is trying to use that to his advantage.
Camacho ends round 5, his balance a little creaky and sucking wind after Greg Haugen stages a mini comeback.
You gotta start throwing more than one. He wants you to feint. Feint, throw 1-2. That's all you gotta do. Put it on his neck.
Yeah. You're the fucking boss. You're the boss. There's only one
That's the one thing that you're making a mistake. Is pulling back.
Rubbing his legs.
He's rubbing everything, baby. He's rubbing everything. Okay? All right. Be smart now. Be smart now.
Don't pull back. You just throw away. Pull back. Just throw away.
You heard Haugen talking about Camacho rubbing his legs. Haugen is a physical fitness aficionado, and he's trying to calibrate just what Camacho's fitness is by watching his behavior, how he's breathing, how he behaves in the corner.
Haugen smiling as he begins round 6. He described aerobic workouts and cardiovascular conditioning to us yesterday, which sounded positively torturous, keeping his heart rate at 160 beats per minute for as long as an hour at a time.
I've never heard a fighter talking about stealing another fighter's heart and meaning it cardiovascularly. Usually it means having to dampen the other fighter's will to fight. But he just feels that if he can just stay active and keep Camacho moving, that Camacho will run out of steam.
And there is increasing evidence that he may have found something, as Haugen begins round 6 much the way he ended round 5. Again, the right hand creeps through the Camacho defense.
Good left by Camacho.
Stopped Haugen in his tracks for a second.
You know, I think we presented the image of Haugen a bit, Jim, as a sort of a brawler, a come straight at, but he is clever. He knows about boxing. He's not leading with his chin. He's not trying to land one punch to the other guy's two.
You go back 5 years, and when Hector Camacho got pinned against the ropes by Edwin Rosario several times in their bout at Madison Square Garden, he got in trouble. Haugen referred to that yesterday. He'd like to make it happen again.
A lot of people think that that fight was the turning point in Camacho's career, that he started to go downhill after that, and this represents his uphill climb right here.
He won a decision over Rosario, but took some heavy punishment en route to it. Two fighters locking heads in the middle of the ring. Camacho with a little bit the better of the exchange.
Camacho is about a 7 or 8 to 1 favorite. I wouldn't want to have laid the odds on this fight.
And Haugen chases Camacho halfway across the ring and barks at him to end round 6.
Okay, you're doing fine. You're scoring well. You know, still the same little mistake. Make sure you keep this left jab up. Don't get it down off here. Because then you're protecting yourself from that hook. See, so make sure you're shooting. You're shooting that. Right, baby. They're all behind you. They're all behind you. Yeah. I'd like to see a few more.
You're going to knock him down.
Good round. Very well.
You throw your uppercut. Try. If you throw that uppercut again, you will knock him down again.
Between rounds, the crowd was chanting Haugen, Haugen. Keep in mind that he lives here in Las Vegas.
You know, Jim, if Camacho goes on to win this fight, it will be seen as just another fight, another number on his record, presumably a fairly easy fight. But when you hear looking at this, even when you win, even when a great fighter wins, he's got to work at it and suffer for it. It ain't that easy.
Yeah, he's in against an intelligent, tough guy who has a specific plan for this fight that he's determined to make work. With the crowd on his side, this is no easy assignment. Good left hand by Camacho, a left and a right, and he begins to show some of the energy that he demonstrated in rounds 2 through 4. Digging a left to the body, Camacho holding Haugen behind the head.
Camacho trying to bait Haugen into leading so that he can counter. And Haugen is being very careful about leading for that reason.
Times in his career when Hector Camacho would never have stood in the center of the ring and exchanged with an opponent the way he has several times tonight with Greg Haugen. He's doing it willingly and getting the better of many of the exchanges as he did several times in that round.
Beautiful. You got it perfectly.
That was a good round for Camacho.
You did beautifully.
Don't let him travel too much to the front. Don't let him look good. Don't give him a chance. Let's attack him a little bit.
All right, Harold, how do you see the fight through 7 rounds?
Larry, I've got it a surprisingly close 4 rounds to 3, 67 to 65 favor Hector Camacho. I think that Hector let Greg Haugen get inside in rounds 5 and 6 and turn it into a brawl, and I thought Haugen won rounds 5 and 6 to make it a close fight. If Haugen gets inside and Camacho don't punch, Haugen wins those rounds.
I have Camacho ahead by 1 point.
Round 7, the best round for Camacho since round 4. Haugen had dominated 5 and 6, but still it was Haugen who was the more accurate puncher in round 7. Camacho nearly doubled him in business, though. 85 punches to only 48 for Haugen in that round. You heard Camacho between rounds turning to our camera and saying, "Happy birthday, Keisha." That is to a lady friend, Keisha, who he says has been a lady friend for the past several months. And he's hoping that by wishing her happy birthday, he can smooth out relations between them. He says they had a small falling out recently. Keisha, if you're watching, we wish you a happy birthday, too. Left hand uppercut, solid. Corner asking Camacho to throw more uppercuts.
That right hand by Haugen missed. Now here's one of the puzzlements of Hector Camacho. He's so fast-handed. He's probably stronger than Haugen. Why isn't he more anxious to step in and go with him from time to time? Not lead with his head, but just go with him.
It's because of his preference for tactical fighting that some regard the nickname Macho to be one of the most ironic labels in this or any other sport.
There are many, many paradoxes.
That and the wardrobe, of course.
In Hector Camacho.
He was the first fighter ever to wear a skirt into the ring.
Camacho may have jolted Haugen with a short punch in close with Haugen's back to us. We couldn't see it.
Perhaps under-conditioned Hector Camacho, who struggled to make it down to 140 pounds for this fight, is about to complete the 8th round in pretty good shape against an opponent who believes that the late rounds should favor him. This is the first of our HBO World Championship boxing doubleheader tonight. Coming up following this bout, you'll see undisputed lightweight champion Pernell Whitaker of Norfolk, Virginia, against challenger Anthony Jones of Detroit in another bout scheduled for 12 rounds. And we take a quick visit now to the Whitaker locker room, where you see Pernell with the Walkman headset on.
Hello, Pernell.
How you doing? How you doing, guys?
Well, we're doing okay. How do you think Camacho's doing?
Well, right now, Larry, I think it's a great fight, good fight right now. You know, it's closer than what the judges have it. I think Haugen's putting on a good show, but you know, like I know, you know, I'm just concentrating right now on what I have to do when I go out there to close this show out.
Did you sense in rounds 5 and 6 that Camacho might be tiring a little bit, Pernell?
I think the body shots, if Greg Haugen was to use more body shots, it'll be more effective for him.
All right, we'll see you later on. Get ready for your assignment tonight when we go back for round 9. Through the first 8 rounds, Hector Camacho, by punch count statistics, threw 180 more punches than Greg Haugen, landed 29 more. Haugen's been slightly more accurate, but it is Camacho's superior activity which appears to have given him an edge in the fight. And he scored the knockdown at the end of round 3 when he put Haugen on his back with a short right hand.
And that might be the difference in this fight before it's all over. Good straight left by Camacho.
There are a lot of ugly red welts on Haugen's face and around his shoulder areas, but no blood. He has not been cut. He suggested to us that he could take a lot of punches from Camacho and that his skin wouldn't break. A very committed Greg Haugen told us this was such a great opportunity for him that they'd have to carry him from the ring for him to lose the bout. But he, like so many others, may have underestimated the artistry and the superior tactical technicianship of Hector Camacho.
This is a completely negative round by Camacho so far. He isn't doing anything to win the round.
Allowing Haugen to dictate to him. Another right hand lands to the head for Camacho. Solid left hand by Camacho. Haugen shakes his head and smiles. Hector may have stolen that round with the late flurry.
This is a very difficult fight to score, and this is Haugen's hometown.
He's dead, Hector.
Coming up, Hector. 10th round coming up. Keep doing what you are doing. Don't look to knock him out. We need 12 solid rounds.
We're
gonna throw more uppercuts, okay? We gotta be calm. There's only 6 minutes left to demonstrate that we're the champ.
9 more minutes in the fight, Hector. That's it.
Here's Camacho when he did put something together at the end of that round. Fake right jab followed by a straight left.
Not a lot of power behind it, but a scoring blow. Round 10 begins.
Conventional wisdom was that by now Camacho would be so far ahead that Haugen wouldn't have a chance. That is not the case, apparently. In fact, you might say Haugen has him just where he wanted him, going into the last 3 rounds with a chance. With a chance.
But if he's going to make his professed strategy pay off, Haugen is going to have to step up the activity level. He's just not pressuring Camacho enough, I don't think, Larry, to win the fight on the judges' scorecard.
Well, he may be counting on the fact that as a Las Vegas fighter, that he might get the benefit of the doubt in some of these close rounds. And that if he can make each round close, he's going to win more of the close ones than Camacho.
Certainly if the judges are looking for effective aggression, which is one of the criteria Harold Letterman always cites, it is Haugen who is chasing Camacho from corner to corner and around the ring. The difference in hand speed again readily apparent there.
Frankly, Jim, this is becoming a little ugly. There's nothing real artful here. Nobody is really seizing command. Sort of like a football game with a lot of 3-yard runs. Nobody taking any real chances.
Kind of game that's normally won by a late field goal. Haugen with his left hand below his waist. Keeping the left hand below his waist. So confident that he's the aggressor and that Camacho is interested only in counterpunching, that he believes he can stand in front of him with no protection. And in this round, he's right. Last 2 minutes of the round belong to Greg Haugen. Crowd is on its feet.
Just like you're doing that. You got 2 more rounds just like that. That's exactly the way you got to do it. You got to score, score, score. Okay?
You're doing very good. You just got to throw punches like that. Close your eye 1 minute.
Your best, Greg, your best damn defense is your offense. When you're punching on him like that, he's not scoring.
You need these rounds.
Harold, 2 more rounds to go. How do you see the fight?
Larry, 7 rounds to 3, 97-92, Hector Camacho. Greg Haugen just isn't landing enough punches. He gets inside, he chases him, he doesn't score. He's got to land punches to win the round.
I have it scored much closer than you do. I think Haugen can steal this fight if he wins the last 2 rounds.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Harold, I'm surprised you gave round 10 to Camacho. That looked like a Haugen round to me. Apparently, the people in Hector Camacho's corner told him that round 12 was coming up. This is round 11, not round 12. Maybe Hector is more aware of the circumstances than are his trainer, Rudy Mata, and the others around him there.
Well, maybe they're trying to get two good 12th rounds out of Camacho. Apparently, his corner isn't worried about a hometown decision. Maybe they're right, maybe they're not. But I don't know why you would want to take a chance with so much at stake for Camacho to let a fight be this as close as this might be.
Stranger things have happened in Las Vegas than a Greg Haugen decision here.
Greg Haugen, with his conditioning, with his effort, has given himself the best chance to win. Camacho, by having weight problems, didn't give himself his best chance to win, and consequently, this is more of a fight than it figured to be.
Between Hector Camacho and Greg Haugen. Camacho knocked Haugen down in the 3rd round and dominated much of the fight. But Haugen, with superior conditioning, has begun to chase Camacho concertedly over the course of the last 2 rounds and may be hoping to eke out a close decision in his hometown. Hector Camacho has never lost in his career. Greg Haugen, a former 2-time lightweight champion, could easily have gone the rest of his career without getting an opportunity like this one. Camacho landing with the short blow. Stops Haugen for a second. But Haugen Haugen continues now relentlessly to stalk the Macho Man.
Greg Haugen is sniffing a monumental upset for himself here.
You're right. You're right. 3 minutes, new champion.
You got 3 minutes. You got 3 minutes to get on his ass and don't let up. Okay? 3 minutes. You can do it. You goddamn right. You can do it.
Hey, Daddy, if you just go non-stop.
That's right. Okay. You're far enough ahead. Counted him. You won that round big. These people, the crowd is a little bit slow.
Throw it.
Con huevos, cabrón.
Do it with.
Con huevos.
Do it with all you got, baby.
Huevos ahorita. Just stay right in his face. Like you're in telephone booth.
3 minutes. Good job.
I think it would be a pretty good idea for Camacho to win this round if he wants to win this fight. Harold Letterman and I
Referee
disagree
Carlos
on that.
Padilla is wasting a lot of seconds here, and now Camacho decides to begin the aggression. Padilla takes a point away from Camacho in what could be a monumental turn of events. If this fight is close, that's a big moment.
Jim, I missed it. What happened? Why did he do that?
I don't know why Padilla was holding the two fighters apart, but he wasn't allowing them to start, and Camacho got impatient and went ahead and hit Haugen 3 or 4 times. And Carlos Padilla just took a point away from Hector Camacho.
Harold Letterman, what is your view? What happened there?
Jim, Carlos Padilla wanted him to touch gloves at the start of the round. It's traditional in boxing. Hector Camacho walked in and whacked Greg Haugen. And Padilla thought it was a dirty tactic on Camacho's part and took a point away for illegal tactics.
I've never seen that, but what it effectively does is neutralize the knockdown advantage that Camacho had earlier in the fight.
Listen to the crowd. This is Greg Haugen's wildest dream. This is what he hoped for. What can he do in the next minute and a half to make it pay off? As a 5-1 underdog 5 years ago, Greg Haugen upset Jimmy Paul in this particular arena to win the World Championship for the first time. He talked about that yesterday. He said he wasn't scared of being a 7-1 underdog against Hector Camacho because he's tasted success under these circumstances on this very ring before. Both fighters are tired, but it is Camacho who is staying away and Haugen who's pressing the action.
It's interesting that in a fight in which Camacho did very little leading and showed in many rounds not an eagerness to really punch, that coming out for the 12th round and throwing a punch could cost him the fight.
As we come down to the end, remember the 3 things that could make a difference in a close fight. The knockdown in round 3 when Camacho put Haugen on his back for only the 2nd time in his career. The point taken away from Camacho at the beginning of round 12 for punching before touching gloves. And the fact that this is Greg Haugen's hometown with a wildly enthusiastic crowd behind him. Camacho gets in one more blow to the chest after the bell.
Close fight. Close.
Larry, I think win or lose, this is a big night for Greg Haugen.
Well, it gives him a reason to go on, gives him hope that he'll be able to make more money at this game. He doesn't have too many more big fights left. But you wonder what this means for Camacho, whether this could ruin his sought-for big money fight with Chavez.
And this was a rehearsal for the Chavez fight.
Right. I mean, who could have imagined Chavez in there tonight? But of course, Camacho tried to calibrate his training for the caliber of opponent, but he may have misjudged it, and that's the danger in doing that.
Let's take a look back now at what happened at the beginning of the 12th round. And you see the inordinately long delay while Padilla waited for the two fighters to touch gloves, and there went Camacho.
The irony of that is, Jim, I don't think Camacho landed a punch. How can you take a point away when it looked like Camacho didn't even land anything there? Harold, how do you have it?
Well, Larry, very close. I got it 114, 112 Hector Camacho, basically because I didn't think Greg Haugen did enough in rounds 7, 8, 9, and 10. But let me tell you, I wouldn't argue either way. It's a darn close fight. Very close fight.
Jim, I have it scored a draw. 5-5-2.
And now let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer to see what the three judges thought.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a split decision. Here's the official scoring. Dalby Shirley scores the bout 114 to 112 for Camacho. Bill McConkey scores the bout 114 to 112. He has it for Haugen. Art Laurie scores the bout 114 to 113 for the winner by split decision here at Caesars Palace. And new captain,
fight. He was absolutely certain he could win this one. In training, he apparently underestimated the difficulty of fighting Greg Haugen. He gave Haugen a chance to formulate a plan that might carry him to victory, and it pays off for Haugen as the judges go his way in an exceptionally close and hard-fought battle. Hector Camacho told us yesterday that his greatest desire was to end his career unbeaten. That goes by the boards. It's early in 1991, but in the first 2 months of this year, this is the upset of the year in the sport of boxing. Maybe more to come. Final punch statistics, Camacho threw more punches by 170. Haugen was the slightly more accurate puncher. All in all, a pretty close bout, and you heard how the judges found it. Is Larry ready with the winner? I think we're just about ready if Larry can get himself. All right, let's go up there now. Larry Merchant with Greg Haugen.
All right, Greg, your battle plan seemed to work. You tell us about it. Why did you win this fight?
Well, I knew he took me lightly. He wasn't in condition. Macho time's over. You know, I knew if I trained hard and I could fight my fight. I think I've only lost one fight, really, and that's to Whitaker, the undisputed lightweight champion, and he's a great fighter. You know, I knew if I trained hard and he took me light, I was going to win the fight.
What specifically did you do, do you feel, that turned this fight around?
I was just focused. I wanted this belt. I wanted to beat Camacho, be the first one. Here's my wife. I just worked hard. I worked so hard for this fight, harder than I've ever worked.
He knocked you down in the third round, took everybody by surprise, probably you as well. What were your thoughts then?
I was kind of going back. I was pulling back, and it was a clean shot, but it didn't hurt me.
It was off balance.
You know, I didn't feel that I was hurt. I got right up, and I came right back on him and showed him that I wasn't hurt, and put the pressure back on him.
when did you sense that he was running out of gas, if you did?
About the 4th round, I thought he was getting tired. I seen him getting tired, breathing hard, and I just wanted to keep the pressure on him. I knew I was in great condition.
Between rounds, you were watching him in the corner. What signs did you see that told you that?
Well, they were rubbing his legs, trying to get some life in him. He just wasn't moving well. You know, he wanted to stop and he didn't want to fight. He wanted to grab and he wanted to move. You know, I seen him rubbing his legs. He was 4 pounds overweight yesterday. He sucked fluid after weigh-in, and that was dehydration.
Greg, you probably won this fight because the referee took a point away from him in the last round when he threw some punches at you at the time when you were touching gloves.
I don't care how I won it. I won it.
Did he hit you? Because from
sure
what I saw, it looked like the punches were either grazing.
He was missing a lot of punches. He was frustrated. He didn't want to come in because I was hitting him with some good shots to the body, good shots to the head. And he was kind of just flicking his jab, and he was afraid to make any initiative to come in and take any chances. So, you know, I just had to keep the pressure on him, and I knew I could beat him.
Thank you very much, Greg, for a good fight.
I'd like to thank Dan Duva and Main Events and Bob Arum for giving me the chance to fight, for taking me as opponent. And I'm back, boys.
Okay. All right, Jim. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Larry. And there goes one of the toughest and gamest lightweights, junior welterweights you're ever going to see in the sport of boxing. But throughout his past 11 years, the Puerto Rican Hector Camacho, because of his flamboyant style in and out of the ring, has gotten as much attention as any other contemporary fighter, with perhaps the exceptions of Sugar Ray Leonard and Mike Tyson. And because of that, he was the man who had a chance for a possible $5 or $6 million payday, it's estimated, in a fight against Julio Cesar Chavez to come up a little bit later this year. Now that goes out the window. There are other prospective opponents for Chavez, but because Camacho was unbeaten, because he was an overwhelming favorite to beat Haugen, and because of the prospect of Camacho Chavez and perhaps Camacho Pernell Whitaker or Camacho Meldrick Taylor, what you just saw was a monumental event in the sport. Now joining me once again is Larry Merchant. And Larry, you made the accurate point, although he didn't seem to want to acknowledge it. He won the fight because referee Carlos Padilla took a point away from Camacho at the beginning of the 12th round for throwing punches without touching gloves, punches which, as the replay showed, did not hit Haugen. What do you think of that?
Boy, we've seen some odd things in the rings in Las Vegas. The fight stopped with 2 seconds left, a point taken away because a guy throws a punch when they're supposed to just touch gloves. But be that as it may, I think the big news here tonight is Hector Camacho didn't have it. And maybe he doesn't have it anymore, and maybe those victories that we saw him put together since the Pazienza fight were something of an illusion. He's fought only 10 times now in 5 years. He's carefully selected his opponents. He hasn't had his full heart in it since that Rosario fight. And tonight we saw that he had kidded himself about it, to not get in shape for a big fight in the best shape he could be. And as we said early on, before the fight, we said this could be a tougher fight for him than it should be. And two, Greg Haugen gave himself his best chance by getting in top shape, and the other guy didn't. And so in a way, justice prevailed.
You having fun? We're only halfway finished. How about that? You have seen the appetizer, and what an appetizer it was. Now let's get ready for the main event and a look at the undisputed lightweight champion of the world. Over 40 different professional boxers are called champion, but only 2 men lay claim to the title of undisputed champion. The first is heavyweight champion Evander Holyfield. And the other is lightweight champ Pernell Whitaker. Before the rise of Pernell Whitaker, over a decade had passed since the lightweight division had had a unified champion. The last man to hold the distinction, the legendary Roberto Duran. In 1978, Duran held the WBA and WBC titles. 11 years later, a southpaw from Norfolk, Virginia would begin his journey toward 135-pound unification. First, the IBF title, with a unanimous decision over Greg Haugen. 6 6 months later, the WBC crown, as Whitaker avenged his only professional loss against Jose Luis Ramirez. And then last August, a surprising first-round knockout to unify the lightweight championship. This is a first-round knockout for Pernell Whitaker. Tonight, all 3 titles will be put on the line as Pernell Whitaker faces Anthony Jones for the lightweight championship of the world.
Center of the ring, takes another right hand. Leonard now tries to fight off the ropes. Combination of
unbelievable! Unbelievable! Las Vegas, a city where one's fortunes can change in a heartbeat. Just ask Hector Camacho, is the site of a championship fight now with a similar touch of mystery. A last-minute substitute opponent will be given the opportunity to become the undisputed lightweight champion of the world as Pernell Whitaker defends his 3 135-pound titles against top 10 ranked challenger Anthony Jones. And once again, we bring you back live to ringside. I'm Jim Lampley with Larry Merchant. Incidentally, Hector Camacho has left the building, went back to his hotel immediately following the announcement of that decision, and for the moment, we do not expect a chance to interview him tonight. But we do get ready for a championship fight with a twist. Anthony Jones was brought in as an opponent 8 days ago when Tracy Spann, the hard-hitting, undefeated lightweight contender, suffered a cut in training and thus fell out of the bout. And you wonder about the effect on Pernell Whitaker as he gets ready to fight a guy on only 8 days' notice who comes in and probably had to struggle to make weight at 135 pounds. But there's still a lot at stake for Pernell because of his greatness in the sport. What does the fight mean to him, Larry?
Well, every fight for Pernell Whitaker at this stage is just a chance to show his stuff. And it's some stuff. Pernell Whitaker is that rare stage in a very good fighter's career where he's right at that exquisite peak, where he seems to see everything coming at him, and he seems to be able to do anything he wants to do. He is at the very, very top of his game and something beautiful to watch. Jones is a reasonable last-minute substitution, but for this fight, I'd have to say, he's merely here to be a canvas for Whitaker to paint on.
And of course, we've profiled Whitaker for you before, prior to his bouts with Azuma Nelson and Juan Nazario, so we thought it might be interesting tonight to show you the last 24 hours of a fighter's experience before a championship bout. Las Vegas, Nevada, a hypnotic kaleidoscope of sights and sound. To this oasis in the desert, huge numbers of people travel, some for pleasure, some to escape, others in pursuit of professional dreams. For the undisputed lightweight champion Pernell Whitaker, this trip to Caesar's Palace is strictly business. The training is over. The waiting has begun. The psychological tune-up of mind and body as he counts down to Saturday night.
6 weeks is an awful long time. And it's just a matter of counting minutes, but the waiting part is, you know, is sort of gets long and it gets old.
For Whitaker, the first act in the ceremonial pageantry of fighting is at hand. The weigh-in on Friday night.
Basically waiting to step on the scale. Once you step on the scale and step off the scale, then the excitement starts.
Train, no problem, no medication, no food. Great. 105 over 66.
You're right,
That means it's cool as a cucumber.
That's right.
I use the weigh-in to get in there, step on the scale, weigh 135 pounds, get off and go eat.
Pernell Whitaker to the scale, please. Whitaker, 135.
In the days before a weigh-in, meals are nervous, carefully monitored, and unfulfilling. Now this dinner is an occasion to relax and enjoy the anticipation of a good night's sleep.
The nighttime part is the hard, is the long part. I can easily go to sleep, especially the night before a fight. I can sleep real well. I can sleep, you know, because I know I'm looking forward to waking up. See how we count down the fight, we say 2 days and a wake up. Now we just down to a wake-up call.
As one of the most justifiably confident of all fighters, Whitaker glides through a haircut and breakfast on the morning of the fight. His friends around him, he begins to order the thoughts and priorities he'll take with him into the ring.
Very important for me to have people around. It's very important to be around your crew, you know, not all the people that you're around in training camp. Those are the people that you basically want to be around, because you've been around them for 6 weeks and there's no sense of departing them. I'm fighting for not just for myself, for my stable, my organization, for my family, my wife and kids, and the people back home. But I'm also fighting for the troops.
Boxing is a sport of rubric, ritual, and repetition. The same motions repeated over and over again. In his amateur and professional careers, Pernell Whitaker has made the trip to the ring dozens of times. Each one is in its way special and unique, but each one, even for a championship defense, is in its way just one more trip to the ring.
Tonight, bro.
Yes, indeed. How you doing, Hardy? Let's get this sparring stuff. Let's get this sparring stuff.
I ask you to stop punching, please step back. Okay? Protect yourself at all times. You know all the rules and all that kind of stuff. Good luck to you. I know you're world champion. Fight like a champ. Thanks, man. Okay, get out there.
Thank you.
Get right up.
Good luck.
All right.
That was tape, and this is live. And now, the culmination of all of that 24 hours of preparation for this appearance, as accompanied by his good friends Meldrick Taylor and Evander Holyfield, and preceded by manager-trainer Lou Duva, Pernell Whitaker begins to make his way toward the ring for another defense of his now undisputed lightweight championship.
The so-called team aspect of boxing obviously is a fallout of the Olympics. A lot of Olympic fighters have been pals, but the Kronk boxers and the Duva boxers have a kind of unique relationship in which they feed off each other, they motivate each other, and it's nice to see.
And right now, the Duva operation, known as Main Events Boxing, numbers among its participants the world heavyweight champion Evander Holyfield, the world lightweight champion Pernell Whitaker, WBA welterweight champion Meldrick Taylor. They have a promotional interest in Camacho, less valuable now than it was 15 minutes ago. And they have promotional interests in two other world champions, Loretta Garza and Rocky Lopez. So Pernell comes from good stock as you look at his record. The one loss to Jose Luis Ramirez in Paris, disputed by most American fight fans who believe Whitaker deserved victory in that fight, as well as all the 24 others. And now here is a look at the man who accepted the assignment to fight Whitaker 8 days ago. 135-pounder Anthony Jones out of Detroit. You see his rankings under the aegis of the three world governing bodies. And Larry, this is a guy who can fight either as a southpaw or as a conventional fighter, and fluidly so.
Yeah, he boxes almost like a swimmer. Puts left hand forward, the right hand forward. You don't know which one he's leading. He's a reasonable substitute, as I said before. And here you'll get a chance to watch him fighting southpaw and later on switch to his right side. He's quick-handed, pretty good boxer. Comes from the Kronk stable, which means that he's done a lot of work with a good class of competition. What I like best about him is his nickname, Jim. It's Baby. Baby Jones. There you saw him being very positive with his boxing in that round. And then, of course, his the best-known fight was against Edwin Rosario for the then vacant lightweight title, vacated by Chavez, and he took it right to Rosario and was winning the fight with combinations like this. But later on in the fight, he walked into a straight right hand. That ended it.
And here is a look at the record for Anthony Baby Jones. He prefers to be called Tony. 26 wins, the 2 losses, one of them the knockout by Rosario in his previous title shot. That was back in 1989. 16 knockouts, so he does have a modicum of punching power. Tail of the tape for the 2 fighters, and Jones was well above 135 pounds 8 days ago when he took this assignment, but he managed to weigh in at 135, as did Whitaker. Jones is 2.5 inches taller than the champion.
And now we'll see our punch stat numbers, which come from 3 fight averages. But perhaps the most interesting thing about these punch stat numbers is that Jones himself is a computer sciences student at a junior college outside of Detroit. So if he loses here, perhaps he'll go to work for punch stat. There you see the jabs. Whitaker throws more jabs than Jones does.
Rules for the fight are taken from all 3 of the governing bodies which recognize Whitaker as champion. 3 judges scoring the fight, 10-point must system, no standing 8 count. The 3 knockdown rule in effect. You can be saved by the bell in the last round only. We want to pass along to our viewers that both President Bush and Secretary of Defense Cheney have held briefings within the past hour confirming that a ground war in the Persian Gulf is underway, and also stating that for now briefings are suspended and there will be no further official information for the time being. So with that said, we go to ring announcer Michael Buffer for pre-fight introductions here.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again from Caesars Palace here in Las Vegas, Nevada, Main Events Monitor and the undisputed, undefeated king of beers, Budweiser, present Part 2 of this World Championship Boxing Doubleheader. This bout is sanctioned by the World Boxing Council, President Jose Suleiman, Supervisor at ringside, Ariesto Manrique, the World Boxing Association President, Dr. Gilberto Mendoza, Supervisor at ringside, Santiago Chicas, the International Boxing Federation President, Robert W. Lee, and the Supervisor for the IBF is Walter Stone. And of course, it is approved and sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. All the officials shall remain the same except for the judges. Doing the scoring once again on a 10-point must system. For this bout, they are Dave Moretti, Joseph Pasquale, and Jerry Roth. And now, ladies and gentlemen, once again from Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, let's get ready to rumble. 12 rounds of boxing for the undisputed lightweight championship of the world. The referee for this bout is Mills Lane. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the Kronk Gold, weighing an even 135 pounds, from the Motor City in Detroit, Michigan. As a professional, he's ranked number 5 by the WBC, 6 by the IBF, and 8 by the WBA. His professional record, an outstanding one. 26 victories with 16 KOs, only 2 defeats and 1 draw. Ladies and gentlemen, the challenger, Anthony Baby Jones. And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the red trunks with black trim. He also weighs an even 135 pounds, from Norfolk, Virginia. This 1984 Olympic gold medal champion has run his professional record to 24-1 with 13 KOs. Considered by many to be, pound for pound, the best fighter in the world today. Ladies and gentlemen, the undisputed lightweight champion of the world, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker.
All right, now, let's go. We've been through all the instructions one time. Remember to protect yourself at all times. Any questions from the challengers? Any questions from the champion? Let's get it on. Come on.
You know, there's an added incentive for Whitaker, who doesn't seem to need it, going into this fight. With Camacho having been defeated, suddenly Whitaker could be next in line for Chavez. He looks sensational enough here. If Meldrick Taylor is moving on to the welterweight division, this could be a preliminary to a fight with Chavez. And Whitaker has said, however, that he would never fight his stablemate Taylor.
And we are told now that Hector Camacho has agreed to come back to the arena and join us at ringside, Larry, for an interview later in the fight. So we'll look forward to that as round one progresses between Pernell Whitaker and Anthony Jones. The wild left that Whitaker missed in the first 20 seconds of the bout was about as aggressive a blow as I've ever seen him throw at the outset. And remember, in his last fight, he had a rare first-round knockout of Juan Nazario.
This is uncharacteristic of him. Going to war, going to ground war, you might call it. When he knocked out his last opponent, even he said he wasn't looking for it. He was boxing. He saw an opening. His fist shot out. He caught the guy a punch he didn't see, and the fight was over. Sometimes after a one-round knockout, and we've seen this happen before, a boxer starts to think of himself more as a slugger and could find himself in some trouble. But I think Whitaker will pull himself together and just fight his fight.
And a couple times in those recent exchanges, we saw the left to the body, which is one of Whitaker's most effective blows. He is known as a slick boxer, but perhaps the one underestimated factor is he does a lot of damage with body punching.
Now Jones is in his southpaw stance here. Let's see when and if he does change to a standard stance.
Whitaker has a lot of experience fighting southpaw. 2 fights with Jose Luis Ramirez, the knockout of Nazario.
Right now, of course, the crowd here is a little spent emotionally. It being a Haugen crowd, this is just some icing.
Jones seemed to enjoy standing at close quarters with Edwin Rosario and trading punches. A lot of people thought it was a mistake. He seems perfectly willing to do the same with Whitaker here if Whitaker will oblige, and so far Pernell is doing it.
You know, there's a question in this fight also of Jones' stamina if the fight goes into the late rounds, because he reportedly had to take off 7, 8, 9 pounds starting late in training as he did. And Whitaker gives a nod to Jones as if to say, hey, that wasn't bad, kid. And it wasn't.
And as we go to Pernell Whitaker's corner, we want to say hello and extend our best wishes and the best wishes of everyone in Pernell's camp to his normal cut man, Ace Murata, who's home in Totowa, New Jersey tonight. We're getting ready to go into hospital for a little bit of a test on Monday. And Ace, we're thinking about you, and so are they.
The defense was real good. You wasn't getting hit with nothing, but you're just loading up too damn much, you see? And that's why you're missing him so much. And I just go out there this time and just box him, box him, box him. The guy ain't got nothing. Okay? All right.
Get that body. Your body punching is coming right through with this guy here, right? As you're dipping over, go right bottom. Get those ribs in this guy here, right?
I didn't take that left
Come on,
hand.
that jab, you can't miss that jab, baby. You can't miss it.
Off here. Spit it out. Feeling all right? Okay, you're looking good. Don't look for him to do too much that time. You do it. Good fight, baby. You do it. Don't look for him. Find a good fight. Beautiful.
You heard Georgie Benton's admonition to Whitaker. You're loading up a little too much. Just box him and let it happen. Don't try to make it happen insofar as a knockout is concerned.
Whitaker's connect percentage, according to PunchStat, in the first round, a little bit lower than the near 50% we're used to from him. But he did seem to be loading up and trying to land power punches a little more than usual.
The head's been close.
Good body punch by Whitaker.
Oh, you don't get that. Come on, come on.
Anthony Jones has managed to deliver to the rib cage a couple times himself.
What Whitaker is doing, Jim, is throwing some very hard jabs. Good, stiff jabs.
He used to be something of a butterfly, but in the last 3 years, he has settled down onto flat feet and throws punches with such calm economy. He is really something to watch.
Having a boxer's kind of instincts and temperament and his kinds of quickness, you expect early in that type of fighter's career in his amateur days for a fighter to be jumping around a lot. Even Sugar Ray Robinson in his early days was a mover. Whitaker, And as they gain experience and confidence and strength, they settle down and start to fight in more classic boxing style. It's much harder for a puncher or a slugger to make that kind of modification.
Get that body!
And this has been the product of constant work and instruction from George Benton to Pernell Whitaker. It's helped to earn Benton a reputation as one of the best teachers in the sport.
Some nice work inside by Jones. Better work from outside by Whitaker.
Good left hand by Whitaker, who has settled down in round 2 but become much more accurate with his punches.
All right, let him go. Step back. Come on, come on. Let him have it. Come on, pick it up, man. Come on, go, go.
Baby Jones graduated from Henry Ford High School in Detroit, one of the top academic high schools in the Detroit public school system.
Very nice, quiet young man, and Emmanuel Stewart seems real proud of him.
And he should be proud of the way he's fighting right here.
That patch, incidentally, is on Pernell Whitaker's shorts. You heard him say in the pre-fight profile that he's fighting for our troops in the Gulf, many of whom he knows because they work out in the gym with him in Norfolk, Virginia. In fact, he has one close friend who is among the handful of prisoners of war being held in Iraq. He was taken as a prisoner early in the war. And Pernell's thoughts are constantly with that young man. Military intelligence has requested that we do not use his name.
That's right. They don't want to seem to give him more importance over any other prisoner than he has.
Now let's go out there and box him.
Good straight right by Jones. Right on the chin of Whitaker.
Good left hand, right on the chin.
Pernell has landed that overhand left about 5 times now. Sets it up with the swift jab. Or has led with it a couple times. Always looking to dig the right to the ribcage in close. And there a left to the body. Jones fighting almost exclusively out of the southpaw stance in this fight. Only for a few seconds as he turned around and fought from a conventional. Now he turns around and goes conventional and steps forward behind the left jab.
The last time a late substitute defeated a champion, Bone Crusher Smith, against Tim Witherspoon.
thrown in with only about 3 or 4 days preparation, right?
I don't recall. It might have been longer than that, Jim. I think it was more somewhere between a week and 2 weeks. A week. Our producer, Ross Greenberg, tells us it was 1 week. And what resulted was a one-round knockout. Whitaker is winning these rounds, but it's no walk in the park.
Just take your time, just like you're doing. That's boxing. Huh? Now take your time like you're doing it. Just box him like that. Now, when you get close, don't get tied up. Use your uppercuts. These guys are easy to hit with uppercuts. Well, yeah, both hands. All you got to do is close your eyes and throw them. But don't throw them out from outside. Throw them inside when you're in close, right? That's it. Just
a lot of pressure on this man that he's not expecting. You're picking everything, and when you get inside, it's important that you start pushing him. Don't back up when you're inside. You understand? When you get into the exchanges, make sure you make him break ground a little bit, okay?
Looking for him to do something back. Don't look for him to do something back. Listen, right on top of him.
Make him break ground, you understand? When you get inside where you're having your exchanges, always make sure that you're always pushing him back to make him break ground, you understand? Because you're putting a lot more pressure on him than he's used to getting.
Take the respect away from him.
Emmanuel Stewart insisted to us that he believed, in terms of style, this was a favorable matchup for Anthony Jones. He wasn't able to offer a lot of specifics as to why he thought Jones matched up so well with Whitaker, but he firmly insisted that he believed Jones would have a chance to win the fight because of a favorable style matchup. But you saw the punch stat numbers that showed Whitaker landing nearly 50% of his punches to only 13% for Jones.
Well, the fact that Jones is here and giving a reasonable account of himself is a tribute to Stewart and the Kronk Club. Of course, Tommy Hearns, the most famous member of that club, the first champion and by far the best champion to come out of there. But Emmanuel Stewart has produced a lot of good professional prize fighters who, because of Hearns, have gotten some breaks and maybe haven't been as good as they were thought to be. But Tony Jones is making the fight here. He's taking it to Whitaker and making Whitaker earn whatever he gets.
Jones wasn't in training for any specific matchup. He had nothing contracted, but he says that he never allows himself to get very much out of shape, and he's always in the gym at least a few days a week, whether he's ready to fight or not. Whitaker took a right and gave a couple of good lefts. Content to stand in close and trade punches with Jones.
He's put some heavy stuff on Jones, and Jones isn't going anywhere yet. The fact that Whitaker is willing to change is an expression of his confidence in himself. Remember earlier I said, Jim, that he sees everything and it looks like he can land everything. And so he's not afraid of staying inside because he can see the punches coming and he can counter them before they get there.
Well, if in fact he finds it convenient to rehearse for a potential Chavez matchup, he'd better get ready for infighting, because that's what he'll get there.
Look out if you can. Punch for 2 hands and open. Come on, bang out.
In many ways, Whitaker is a more dangerous opponent for Chavez than Camacho was. Not as an attractive as a match, but a more dangerous opponent because of his quickness.
All right, suck it up now. Suck it up. Keep working just the way you're working, and the main thing is to keep pushing him. You understand? Very important that you push him. Push him inside.
Put your weight on him.
That's when your man don't get the leverage to get his best shots off.
Harold Letterman, how do you see the first 4 rounds?
Larry, 4 rounds to nothing, 40-36, favor Pernell Whitaker. He keeps landing those good straight left hands to the body. He keeps coming underneath with that real good straight left hand. You know, I keep talking about the 4 points at which we score. I always talk about defense. Watch Pernell Whitaker keep his hands up high, his elbows in tight. He picks up a lot of shots on the gloves and the elbows. Give him credit for defense.
And let's see, now a good roundhouse left. Wasn't that short, sharp punch that gets a knockout, but it did get Jones' attention. I don't think I've seen Whitaker ever do this kind of thing before.
I don't think so either.
Here we go, come on. Come on. Let's step back. Here we go, come on.
But I think you're right, Larry. I think his willingness to stand in close like that is a mark of the constantly growing confidence which has been manifested throughout his career. So calm in close, and you think of Chavez when you see that.
Yeah, it's unusual. It's sort of like an antelope deciding he's so quick that he can stand right in front of the lion and make the lion miss.
And we are joined now at ringside by one of Pernell's closest friends and training partners, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield. And Evander, what about the more flat-footed style that Pernell seems to exhibit now as opposed to a couple of years ago? By design?
Well, I think right now, I think Pernell ain't really fighting his fight. He's a very technical fighter, and now that he is stronger, he seems to go flat-footed, but he's knocking guys out and getting the people what they're looking for.
But when you say not fighting his fight, do you think that he's being lured into a little bit more of a brawl here than is necessary or advisable?
Well, I think right now he's just so confident that that he can take this guy out, and he's not fighting his fight. And usually when he fights his opponent, he's very cautious, and he uses his quickness and his technical.
So are you saying that he's achieved a certain peak in his career, and now he's trying to be a more exciting fighter because that could result in more exciting bank deposits?
Well, it could be, but Pernell is a very technical fighter, and he's very skillful. Right now, he's just looking to take this guy out, which is not his fight.
Pernell between rounds, or excuse me, Evander between rounds, and the end of this round is coming up. We're going to ask your opinion about what you saw earlier, as just about a half hour ago, our audience was treated to the sight of Hector Camacho's first loss in 39 career fights. It came under extremely unusual circumstances. Did you have a sense during the closing rounds of that fight that Greg Haugen might be about to get a decision?
Well, not really, because I guess the fight was close and Greg Haugen was in the fight, but I thought Camacho out-punched him and pretty much scored a lot of punches. And I think by him losing that point in the last round would cost him the fight, which I think was wrong, because the referee told him to touch the glove. Camacho wanted to touch the glove, and Haugen didn't, but it cost Camacho the fight.
That's right. He's the one who stepped in and threw punches, and he's the one who had a point deducted. Larry?
But wasn't, even if you give the fight to Camacho, and a reasonable argument can be made that he won it close, wasn't it too close? I mean, shouldn't he have been able to dominate a 30-year-old Haugen who 2 years ago Pernell Whitaker shut out?
Wore out.
Well, I look at it like this. Haugen fought a great fight, and you can't take that from him. And Camacho, I don't know if he prepared properly for that fight, because Haugen had his number. It was on him and made the fight very close.
And that's shame on Hector Camacho.
Sure is, because it shows that you never take nobody lightly. You never know what fight is going to come out.
Thank you very much, Evander.
And best of luck as you get ready for April 19 and your date with George Foreman, and we're going to be seeing you somewhere down the road ourselves. So thanks very much. Evander Holyfield, heavyweight champion of the world, goes back to enjoying this fight from the spectator seats, and we go back to the business of Anthony Jones against undisputed lightweight champ Pernell Whitaker in round 6. When I referred to us seeing Evander Holyfield somewhere down the road, I'm referring, of course, to the fact that we will bring you a preview show prior to Foreman Holyfield. Look for your listings on HBO to catch that preview show as we get ready for that big heavyweight championship bout. Good left hand by Whitaker, and another left, and Jones's defense begins to drop a little bit. Closest thing to a slugfest, I think, in Pernell Whitaker's professional career.
Absolutely. He may also have the sense that how great in condition can Jones be in with 8 days of notification. I mean, even if he wasn't far out of condition, and obviously it wasn't, he wasn't in fighting condition. So as the fight goes on, this kind of tempo figures to help Whitaker.
Wonder if he enjoyed reading the press clippings after his one-round knockout of Nazario. Got a little more pleasure out of that maybe than having read about all of the 12-round decisions that preceded it.
Well, he may find out something about himself here. It may be a good learning experience for future fights, particularly big fights, that he has to return to his style, or he may like this. He may feel that he can do this.
Of course, you remember what happened in the career of middleweight champion Michael Nunn, who knocked out Simbu Kalambe unexpectedly in 1 round, and then proceeded to have a horrible outing next time out, at least horrible in the eyes of many in the boxing world, against Iran Barkley. But it wasn't a case of Nunn deciding to slug it out with Barkley. That was quite the opposite.
Fight, a beautiful fight. You all right? What rounds is coming up now?
7.
Okay. Jim. How you feeling? Now we're gonna have to try to take these going on down the stretch now, okay? Okay, we went over the halfway.
What you can do now? Just jab him, and counter. Just get a clean counter, you know what I mean? Because the guy slowed down to a walk. So your counter punching will be easy now. You see what's going on? Now keep him at bay with your jab, right?
Pull the cup, pull the cup.
Now keep him at bay with your jab, you understand? Don't let him get close to you. Don't run, just walk.
Here is Whitaker in slow-mo. Good straight left hand. I guess Jones would like to see him in slow-mo inside the ring. Whitaker is too quick for him. Hector Camacho has returned to ringside, and we're going to try to get him here during this fight.
There's a Whitaker trademark as he ducked down almost to his knees to get under an Anthony Jones approach. He's been known to turn full 360s to escape from opponents. Round 7 of a scheduled 12. Pernell Whitaker defending his lightweight championship against Tony Jones. And Whitaker, though in control, taking more punishment in a different kind of fight than he normally fights. Between rounds 7 and 8, we'll have our chance to begin rehashing what happened in the first bout of the evening, as we have just been joined at ringside by Hector Camacho. And Hector, before we get to the conversation, we just want to express to you our gratitude for taking the trouble to come back, because we know you had left the arena to come back and join us and talk about this on what is, of course, a difficult night for you. We appreciate it. We'll be with you in just a minute.
SAP is working. He don't seem to be fighting.
Brunel has been involved here, Hector, in something a little bit more like a slugfest than he's used to. He's allowed himself to stay in close and take some heavy blows from Jones while trying to dish out something more like knockout punches himself than he normally brings.
Well, it looks like a relaxed Pernell, more or less like the way I was. But we in Vegas, so we got to start fighting more.
Well, you're indicating that maybe you learned a little bit about Las Vegas judges tonight and the need to be careful when you're in the company of Las Vegas judges. Do you feel like you were robbed?
Well, I thought I won the fight, you know, by being robbed, they really didn't take nothing from me. You know, it surprised me because when I walked out, a lot of people want to see me get beat. They want to see me, to see how I act if I lose. I don't feel like a loser. Everybody's telling me I got robbed and this and that. So I let the public say the story. Yeah.
All right, Larry, we're going to take a look now at what happened before the 12th round, or actually in the beginning of the 12th round.
This actually cost you the fight. Now, what happened here as far as you were concerned? It looked like he didn't want to touch gloves with you?
You see, well, right there, you see, he provoked it there. Because, you know, he didn't want to shake their hand, and he just dropped his hand, and I just went into action. If anything, he should have warned me, not take the point.
Did you actually hit him? Because the punches didn't look like they landed solidly. They looked anyway.
Well, let me tell you, when I started the round, I felt like I controlled the whole fight. He put good pressure on me. I was more or less like Pernell, you know, just working, throwing jabs, throwing movement, trying not to overexcite myself and look all sloppy. And the fight went the way it did.
Yes. But it seemed to us at ringside that your corner kept reinforcing your feeling that you had the fight under control, when in fact it was a much, much closer fight, and it's reasonable to assume that Haugen was going to get a lot of the close rounds in his hometown.
Well, let me tell you, I kept controlling the fight with the jabs, with the 1-2, with my movement. The only thing he kept getting off was body shots, you know, a straight left hand to the, you know, a hook to the body. I kept the movement. I thought I had control. I didn't want to get to no slugfest. When I did, I got the best of it. I thought I won the fight, but if they gave him the decision, I'm not gonna, you know, complain about it, feel down about it, and feel like I lost the fight.
All right, let's go back to this fight, and we'll talk again between rounds, Hector.
And this has been more of the same in this round, as still Pernell Whitaker and Anthony Jones fight at relatively close quarters and trade blows. Whitaker, the more accurate puncher of the two, maybe a little bit the more effective with those blows that he lands, but on the other hand, taking more effective punches than is sometimes the case for someone who is so slick and so effective a defensive fighter. Solid left hand by Whitaker in that exchange, but Jones landed 2 rights. There's the left and the right to the body.
If this is an experiment for Whitaker, fighting this kind of fight, the result could be good. I mean, he has hit Jones with some really good, hard, straight punches, and there is Jones standing right in front of him. So he may go back and look at this and say, okay, I don't have the natural power to fight this way very often, and to somehow find some more happy medium between his old style and this style.
Just saw him shake the left hand a little bit, and Pernell has a history of hand problems. He has broken a knuckle or two in the past. So you have to watch carefully in all his fights to see if he's favoring it. But no, he is not favoring the left hand, as you saw there with the 2 hard shots. So round 8 comes to a close, and we turn back to the business of Camacho-Haugen in the big upset that took place earlier tonight. Hector, you struggled to make weight yesterday. Had to get rid of about 3 or 4 pounds between 2 and 5 o'clock. Did it hurt you tonight?
No, I felt good. Like I said, he put good pressure on me. He was never really getting off hard shots on me. I thought it was going to be the same kind of fight that I, analyzed. He was going to put good pressure, keep consistent pressure on me, and I just had to be sharp to get ready for a fight like Chavez. But right now, we just got to work a game plan.
So is it fair to say you really looked past him to Chavez, and that made it, even if you won the fight in your eyes, a closer fight than many of us thought it would be?
Well, I thought it'd be that kind of fight, though, but the crowd seemed to really, come off everything he did, got the crowd behind him, but I don't know what to say at the moment, and I don't know what to analyze. I never thought I could lose a fight, but out of my mind, I don't feel like a loser, Larry.
Do you want a rematch with Haugen? Because obviously Chavez, Taylor, Whitaker, that's not going to happen right now.
Well, let me tell you, this will be a good story added to my story. I'm definitely going to look for another title, a rematch, or just go after the WBA champion. But I definitely want to come back with a title fight.
All right. Thanks very much, Hector. We appreciate your time. In fact, I think you just earned your nickname. To me, coming back and talking to us tonight is the most macho thing you've ever done.
No, just want to be realistic and see what's happening.
All right.
Thank you, Hector.
Best of luck in the future. Don't forget the 38 victories that preceded the 1 loss. Hector Camacho says he'll be back. And we turn our attention back now to round 9 of Pernell Whitaker versus Tony Jones.
One of the interesting things here, Jim, he's come out here, as Evander Holyfield said, to try to be more exciting, and in so doing has given us a kind of tough, grueling, but not very exciting fight.
Well, it just doesn't look that much like Pernell Whitaker, right?
But again, part of this is due to the fact that the crowd is still a little bit emotionally spent from the first fight. If this crowd was up and roaring, because there is some very good action here, this fight might take on a different coloration. Although right now on my scorecard, Whitaker has won every round.
I think that's true. But it is not the kind of domination that's going to arouse the excitement and the intense allegiance of boxing fans, as is evidenced to some degree by the quiet in the house as this takes place. It was 2 years ago when Pernell Whitaker took some time off to nurse the left hand that he broke in Paris against Jose Luis Ramirez. And between rounds, he seemed to be flexing it in the corner, as if to try to be sure that all the feeling was there.
That was an old-fashioned punch in the nose, right on the nose.
Through the first 8 rounds, Pernell Whitaker threw a lot of hard shots with the left hand. Doesn't seem to be throwing it with the same result now. Yep, and he shakes it again as he goes back to the corner. I wonder if something has happened to the knuckles on Pernell's left hand.
Hey, you just do it like that. You understand? You ain't got to do that. You know what I mean?
Doing beautiful, baby, beautiful.
That hook is working good for you when you're forward.
Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in.
You look like a damn $1 million. Just keep that going, right?
Hold that cup, hold the cup.
Right? That's the way to handle it.
No, all right, come on.
Now listen, let that jab work overtime for you, right? Now, don't get too careless with him. Don't get too careless with him, man. You understand?
Harold, I've already given my scorecard. How's yours?
Larry, 8 rounds to 1, 89-82 favorite Pernell Whitaker. I think Anthony Jones took it to him in the 9th round and pulled out that 9th round. Pernell just didn't seem to be as active as he was at the first 8, so I gave round 9 to Anthony Jones because he landed a few more good shots.
Well, and it's a credit to him that this late in the fight, for which he had so little time to prepare, that he is still active and still going at it.
Well, he threw another left hand to the jaw. So that's a sign that maybe it isn't hurt. You heard George Benton say, let the jab work overtime for you.
Get that jab! Where's that right hook? Where's that right hook? Where's that right hook? That's it! Where's that right hook?
That's Lou Duva screaming for the right hook.
There it was.
An obedient student.
Come on. Come on, here we go. Come on.
Mills Lane, the 3rd man in the ring. We used to refer to him as the district attorney from Reno. He is now a district judge from Reno, more in keeping with his role as a referee.
Generally regarded as one of the best. There's the right hook once again, and there again. But Anthony Jones continues to pound away in close. Returning fire from Pernell Whitaker. And while it's a different kind of bout, the parallel here to Barkley Nunn is that this is an increasingly dull fight.
Boxer should box and slugger should slug.
All right, Nerdful, come on.
This is a game performance by Tony Jones, but as we get toward the end of round 10, you look at the record and realize that Jones has never fought an 11th or a 12th round. And he's about to face that responsibility in a minute from now.
Trying to pace yourself?
No.
Okay, well, we can let it hang out a little bit more now. It's the 11th round coming up, and then you just about down the stretch. All you got to do is fire with a little more authority, Jones. You just fire at this man.
Waiting on him jiving.
Hesitate.
Don't let him jive.
Just thinking too much. You understand? Let the shots flow. You're taking his best shots. He's going to shoot right on the money. You're taking everything and walk right through him. Kept eating him, but you got to punch more. That's the only difference. You got to try to knock this man out. Tighten up on him. Try to trick. Just take each shot. You can't miss him with the right hook, Joe. You can't miss him with the right hook.
You don't let him get that respect. See, keep him respecting you. You understand? Okay. That hook is working good when you throw it.
The jab is coming in good. Use that right hook. Just dip over and go to the right hook. You got to rip it right up on top of this guy. Come on.
How many fighters could look less than their best while landing 54% of their punches?
Well, it's not that he's less than his best, Jim. It gets into the area of expectations, what you expect from a man and what he does. And so this fight has become an anticlimax primarily because of what happened in the first fight, because that was not our expectation, and that made it more dramatic. This is not our expectation in terms of the style, but it's a hard act to follow. Hector Camacho losing his first fight in 12 years. Some people are voting with their feet here. Just to say there a handful of spectators are beginning to walk out.
And even Lou Duva is quiet. Well, I think you have to give a lot of credit to Jones.
Yep, and Emmanuel Stewart.
Another solid left hand by Whitaker, and Jones, as Manuel Stewart pointed out between rounds, is able to walk through it.
Where's that right hand? Where's that hook? Where's that hook? That's it. Where's that hook?
You know, this speaks of a prize fighter's professionalism, that he could come in here against an outstanding young champion and stand there and hustle away now through the best part of 11 rounds. He may be studying computer sciences, but he's got some flesh and bone and other stuff inside him that is driving him like this.
Some stomach. And in the first 11th round of his career, Anthony Jones looked much the same as he did in the first 10 rounds of this assignment with Pernell Whitaker.
All right, now look, this round now, they did him a lot of jabs to the body. You understand? Yeah. So jab him in the body. Because he is dying. You understand? Right. And keep your composure. Don't let him. You see how much better he was when you didn't let him charge you. See when you
just body pivot, okay? Everything hard. Body pivot. Body pivot. Stay in there close this round, all the way on it. And putting everything on the shots. You understand?
Charge, he can't hurt you when you meet the charge, right? Hey, look.
Yeah, baby. Come on.
Right,
that hard jab and that hook, that right hand here, right hand over. You can't miss this guy. Come on.
Don't get careless, but then hard jab. No damn doing it. Keep doing
it. Get out. This is it. Try to get him out of it with something short. Push yourself. Let's go. Stay in close.
You know, Jim, I've often said that when the crowd wants blood, what blood really means is drama. They want to see the tide of a fight go this way and that way. They want to see people exhibit not only their skills, but everything you bring to a demanding game like this. And obviously there wasn't any red blood in that first fight, but it was filled with drama. It was back and forth. It did, the tides did change. The man who was knocked down got up and went on and kept pressing the fight and won it. And that's why people responded to it, quite aside from the personalities of Haugen and Camacho, which are interesting enough.
But in this fight,
for whatever reason, it's sort of bloodless. But again, it's because it's following a really tremendous upset. Seems to me we had an upset almost as big as this or bigger than that last February, Jim.
Yeah, I remember that. We have seen some unusual things. There was a question in Whitaker's corner between rounds as to whether he had hurt the hand. Lou Duva mentioned it.
February has been the cruelest month for Mike Tyson, considered invincible, and Hector Camacho.
Unbeaten fighters taking unexpected losses in consecutive Februarys on HBO. Well, barring a monumental reversal of expectation by the Vegas judges here, Pernell Whitaker is going to have another defense of his lightweight championship in a unanimous decision over Anthony Jones in a bout which will not be remembered much, as as it comes in the aftermath of the stunning upset of Hector Camacho by Greg Haugen. But as you pointed out at the beginning of the fight, the question now will be, with Camacho temporarily at least out of the picture, where does Whitaker go from here? Will he stay at 135 pounds, continuing to try to pick off opponents in his own weight class, or will he consider Chavez at 140 pounds? Obviously, the money will be in a Chavez fight. Whitaker with a final burst, perhaps gunning for a knockout.
For the good fighters, they go where the money is. Hearns, Leonard moved up and down from welterweight to light heavyweight, and I don't think 140 pounds is any hard obstacle for this man.
Is Whitaker ready for Chavez?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to see Whitaker or Taylor fighting Chavez. It's not going to be Taylor right away because he has a mandatory welterweight defense. It very well might be Whitaker, and we'll ask him about it when we get into the ring.
Who would you favor in that bout?
Well, I can't. How do you go against Chavez, who's about 70-0? In my judgment, pound for pound, the best fighter out there. Until he loses, he's the best.
Leave it alone. Don't even take the
All right, Larry Merchant will go to the ring now in expectation of a conversation with Purnell. And we take a look at Harold Letterman's final card. Harold, how'd you score it?
Well, Jim, I got it 118 to 110, 10 rounds to 2 favor Purnell Whitaker. He just landed too many shots to the body. I mean, it was toe-to-toe. It was Anthony Jones's type of fight, but Anthony just didn't have enough snap to the punches, not enough velocity. Purnell outpunched him, and that's all there was to it. No question, Purnell should win this one big.
All right, Harold, let's see if the Vegas judges agreed with you as we go back to Michael Buffer for the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Caesar's Palace, we go to the scorecards. Here's the official scoring. Joseph Pasquale and Jerry Roth both have it, 120 to 108. Dave Moretti scores the bout 119 to 109 for the winner, and still undisputed lightweight champion of the world, Purnell Sweet Pea Whitaker. Let's have a round of applause.
And there's the expected result.
Baby Jones from Detroit, Michigan.
As the crowd begins to file out with a polite round of applause for the reigning lightweight champion of the world, first undisputed champion in that division since Roberto Duran. Final punch stat numbers in the bout, and you're going to see that Purnell Whitaker connected on 52% of his punches. But Anthony Jones at least stayed just as busy, throwing 28 more punches in the bout than Whitaker, landing at a much lower rate. But as Harold Letterman said, it was a style of fight that seemed more up the alley of Anthony Jones than the consummate boxer Purnell Whitaker. Let's go to Larry Merchant with the champ.
All right, Purnell, your people, the Duvas, are telling me that you broke your hand early in the fight. When did it happen?
Well, I'm not sure if it's broken, but it's rather sore right now. But in the third round, you know, those shots, that's why I'm a game fighter. That's why I don't let any adversity stop me. You know, even though I did hurt my hand, I didn't complain. I just came back out.
You've had it broken twice before. Let's take a look here. There's a punch that was on the borderline, and you're shaking your hand. Is that when it happened? Is that your recollection?
No, it was before then, but once I threw that shot, I landed a little elbow. I think I hurt my hand on top of the head. But when I just kept using it like I've been doing. You know, if it's hurt, you know, I still have to keep using it, or you know, I'm gonna be a one-handed fighter.
You've had that hand broken twice before. You should be the world's expert on whether it's broken before it gets to an X-ray machine. Do you think it's broken?
I think it's fractured.
You think it's fractured?
Not broken. If it was not broken, because I wouldn't be able to ball it if it was broken.
Well, I'm not sure how we're going to separate that hair between broken and fractured.
Okay, well, you know, I would never know until I take this glove off, and you know, and then just take a look at it. If it's puffed up, then we're gonna get outside.
Why did you fight the fight you fought? You were standing there. You wanted to fight toe to toe. Is that because you knocked the man out with one punch the last fight?
No, Larry. It changed. The game plan kind of changed a little bit in there on me, because I was expecting Jones either to switch, keep switching. I didn't expect him to stay one way too long, and he stayed pretty much right-handed the whole fight. Then he would change, but he was awkward too. And plus, you know, coming in, I had 3 different opponents, and I prepared for all 3 of them.
But why were you so aggressive? Were you determined to find out if you could punch hard enough to start knocking people out?
No.
And did that lead to your breaking your hand again, presumably?
No, Anthony Jones didn't show me that he can make me move around. You know, and there's no sense in moving around when I really didn't have to. You know, so I tried to move around him instead of moving, bounce. But we had the right game plan, and it was a great fight.
Given the result of the Camacho fight, it would appear that you are now closer to a fight with Julio Cesar Chavez. What are your feelings about that?
Well, at least I'll fight tomorrow or whatever happen. But at least I would know who I'm fighting for sure. And if something happens,
you're saying you want to fight him?
Of course. I'll fight anybody, Larry. But first, can I say hi to my 3 sons, Dominique, Pernell, and Dontavius, and to my sisters and brothers.
Would it be fair to say that the only thing that could stop you from fighting Chavez would be a broken hand that might sideline you for a while?
Oh no, I'll be back. I'll be back in a month. I'll be back. And whatever happens. But I closed the show out. I closed the show out the way I wanted to. Impressive, never losing a round.
It was very quiet in here. It was because the fight seemed to be an anticlimax to the first fight.
I think because of the fact that Camacho did lose, and the crowd loved that, and if he'd have won, then I'd have came out and then, the crowd would have been more into it. But, I always say that, I come in here to go 12, and if whatever happens, happens. These guys are getting game now, and I know none of my fights are going to be easy. But I'm still winning, and however you talk up a W, I get that an A-.
Okay, thank you so much, Jim.
Oh, and I'd like to say hi to get well, Ace. We need you in this corner, buddy.
That was a hello for Ace Murata, who is Purnell's normal cut man, and as we mentioned earlier this evening, is home tonight in Totowa, New Jersey. He would normally have been here. He's got some hospital tests coming up Monday, and it's nice that Purnell is thinking about someone whom he misses like that. Purnell says he'll be back in a month from the apparently injured hand. We, and I'm sure the Duvas and main events, will let the doctors be the judge of that. At any rate, he got the expected easy decision over Anthony Jones to run his record to 25-1 and defend the lightweight championship, which is his under the eyes of all 3 governing bodies. And Larry, welcome back, and let's sum up a night of drama followed by anticlimax here at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. An unexpected result in a quite unexpected fight in the first act, followed by the expected result in a not so easily expected fight in the second act. What are your final thoughts?
Well, a couple of one-actors in the theater of the unexpected, and we got some unexpected stuff in both fights, but of course Camacho will be the headlines, and rightly so. We've sort of talked that fight into death almost, although it will be brought alive in tomorrow's headlines. But it was reminded, Jim, that we were talking about upsets in February with Tyson, with Camacho. And of course, a couple of weeks ago, a pal of ours got upset, Sugar Ray Leonard. And I'd like to say a few words about Ray. A lot of people have approached me and told me how sad they feel for Ray taking a beating in that fight. And it's perfectly understandable because Ray Leonard was such a testament to this game. He was such a great fighter. He was the gold medal winner in Olympics, and he had the golden smile and the golden touch. And so it's natural for people to be sad that the smile was wiped off his face, so to speak, as if the smile was wiped off the Mona Lisa's face. But I don't think we have to sing any sad songs for the death of this king. Sugar Ray Leonard got everything and more that he ever wanted out of prize fighting. He got great success. He got respect from his peers. He got applause and love from fans. And he made more money perhaps than any other athlete in history. He gave to us some of the most beautiful fighting we ever saw. He gave us grace. He gave us great courage, and he gave us a high drama. And on a personal note, I've never seen a top athlete so gracious with strangers. I know he gave his time to charities when he was asked, and we wish him the best in whatever follows.
Well said. And Ray, for my part, I'll second that emotion. So now let's take a final look at what happened here tonight in our World Championship boxing doubleheader. In the first of the two bouts, Greg Haugen got an upset victory over Hector Camacho in a split decision. It was the first loss of Hector Camacho's 12-year professional career, and this was the critical moment at the beginning of round 12 when Greg Haugen apparently refused to touch gloves with Hector Camacho. Camacho began hostilities before referee Carlos Padilla saw fit. Padilla took a point away from Camacho on all three judges' cards, and that point figured directly in what became the split decision victory for Haugen. Then in bout number 2, undisputed world lightweight champ Pernell Whitaker defeated Anthony Jones, a unanimous decision over a fighter who was able to make it interesting from time to time, partially because of a style that sees him switching from southpaw to conventional fighting and then back to southpaw. That seemed to give Whitaker a little trouble from time to time. Pernell also now has apparently a broken left hand to deal with, and we'll see what happens with that. Coming up, immediately following tonight's boxing coverage, you'll see One Night Stand, Mark Curry on the East Coast, and Superman on the West Coast. So now for Larry Merchant, I'm Jim Lampley saying so long from Las Vegas, Nevada. The executive producer of HBO Sports is Ross Greenberg. Tonight's doubleheader was produced by Rick Bernstein and directed by Mark Payton. The replay producer was Michael J. Whalen. The feature producer, Brian McDonald. Assistants to the producer were Kendall Reed and Kirby Bradley. The production manager was Russell Gabay, and the technical supervisor was George Wenzel.